Hi, my name is Ellis. I'm 32. The keys to my first home are still warm in my palm. I stand on the porch when two cars screech into my driveway. My parents' Buick. My brother Brooks's SUV. Doors slam. Suitcases hit the ground. Mom waves like she's arriving for a celebration. But Brooks pops the trunk. Inside are moving boxes. We've been planning this for months, he says. My stomach twists. Planning what? This bungalow is mine. 9 years of sacrifice. And in their eyes, it already belongs to them. And that's when I realized the fight for this house had only just begun. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you are listening in the comments. 3 weeks before that driveway scene, we were at my parents' Sunday dinner. The same ritual since childhood. Roast chicken. Overcooked carrots. The smell of polish clinging to the dining table. I had mentioned it casually, that I finally qualified for a mortgage. My voice shook with pride, like I was letting them see a piece of my future. Our new home, Mom said instantly. She clapped her hands together. Finally, I froze. The word was plural. Our, not mine. Before I could correct her, Brooks grinned. He pulled out his phone. I've been saving listings, he said. Something big enough for everyone. On the screen were sprawling houses. 6 bedrooms. Price tags north of $700,000. Way beyond anything I could afford. I tried to laugh it off. But a lifetime of experience told me disagreement was dangerous. Their disappointment always landed heavier than my words. So I stayed quiet. That night, lying awake in my apartment, I told myself it was just a misunderstanding. Of course, they didn't actually believe my sacrifice was theirs to claim, right? But it wasn't just that night. It was every birthday no one remembered. Every promotion they brushed off because Brooks needed attention. Every time my achievements were swallowed whole by his failures. When I graduated college, no one came. Brooks had a baseball game. That was more important. When I landed my first design award, they said the drive was too far. But they mailed balloons to Brooks when his short-lived coffee shop opened. It built a pattern. Me invisible. Him celebrated. And my silence kept the peace. Now, watching my family unload boxes into my driveway, I realized silence had built something else too. Permission. They thought my hard work was theirs by default. That my savings, my credit, my future, were nothing more than backup plans for their failures. My mother's words still rang in my head. Don't be ridiculous, Ellis. Her voice quick, sharp, dismissive. Ridiculous. For believing my first home was actually mine. But I didn't know then. The real betrayal was still waiting in my inbox. 3 days passed after the confrontation in my driveway. My family retreated to Portland in cold silence. For a moment, I let myself breathe. But silence from them was never safety. It was the pause before the storm. I was right. The storm arrived by email. Subject line: Morgan family dream home purchase agreement ready. At first, I almost deleted it. I already had my bungalow. Why would a realtor contact me again? But then I saw it. My name. My financial information. A loan agreement for a house I had never even visited. $768,000. My signature forged. $2,000 already pulled from my account. My own mother had done it. Lorraine Morgan. On behalf of Ellis Morgan, primary applicant. The room tilted. I sank onto a box in my half-furnished living room. My heart raced so hard it felt like betrayal was a physical blow. Every page screamed the same truth. I wasn't just invisible to them. I was useful. A resource to exploit. And then the doorbell rang. I opened the door to find my parents and Brooks walking in, like they owned the place. My father checked his watch, as if my crisis had ruined his schedule. Brooks paced, confidence dripping off him. Mom rifled through my mail, as if she was tidying up her own kitchen. You look awful, Mom said, as if my appearance was the real problem. I held up the printed email. You used my name, my credit, without permission. Her eyes flicked toward Dad. He stared at the ceiling. Don't be dramatic, Ellis. Her voice was airy, dismissive. I simply initiated the process. You would have been consulted before anything was finalized. Consulted. That word sliced through me. She'd stolen my identity, and still framed it as a kindness. Brooks stopped pacing. Strong words for family helping family, he muttered. Helping? They weren't helping me. They were building their future on my back. My father finally spoke. It's an investment. The schools there are excellent. We've already enrolled the kids. Each word landed heavier. Enrolled children in a district they didn't live in. Terminated their rental lease. Quit their jobs. All based on a house I never agreed to buy. I stared at them. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a plan. One I had never been invited to join. Mom's eyes glistened with practiced tears. If your credit drops, ours will fall too. We'll never qualify for anything decent. Brooks folded his arms. Our landlord has new tenants moving in next month. You're destroying this family. Destroying? I had spent 9 years building, saving, sacrificing, and somehow I was the villain. Inside, something cracked. Not the weak kind of break. The sharp, tectonic kind. The kind that reshapes entire landscapes. But they weren't finished yet. The pressure was only about to get worse. That night, sleep never came. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my name printed on a mortgage for nearly $1 million. A house I never chose. I tried to steady my breathing, but my chest tightened. It wasn't just fraud. It was betrayal at the deepest level. 9 years of sacrifice. And they had weaponized all of it against me. The next morning, my phone buzzed nonstop. Aunts, uncles, even cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. All with the same message. Family takes care of family. Ellis, don't abandon them. Brooks had written a Facebook post, spinning a story about sacrifice and loyalty. By noon, my reputation was already on trial. Then came the call that twisted the knife. Ellis, it's Grandma Joanne. Her voice cracked with practiced fragility. Brooks says you left them homeless. That can't be true. It is true, I said quickly. They tried to use my credit without permission. She ignored me. I've always included you equally in my will. But family takes care of family. If you don't, I don't see how I can keep things that way. The threat was clear. Money, inheritance, love, all conditional. When she hung up, I sank to the floor. The weight of every year pressed on my chest. And with it came a memory I had buried. Senior year of college. I opened my tuition account. Empty. Drained. Mom's voice on the phone was casual. We had to help Brooks with the coffee shop. You'll figure something out. You always do. I worked 60-hour weeks to survive. Classes by day, shifts by night. Eating oatmeal from a packet because it was 19 cents. The coffee shop closed 4 months later. And the memory of my mother's signature on that withdrawal slip never left me. That was the night I promised myself. Never again. Never let them make me vulnerable again. And yet here I was. History repeating itself. Only this time the stakes were higher. A house. My future. My freedom. The knock at the door startled me. Noelle stood there. Her voice soft but steady. Ellis, you don't look okay. What's going on? I wanted to collapse into her arms. But instead, I gathered the papers into a neat stack. I would not cry. Not this time. This stops now, I whispered. More to myself than to her. Because in that moment, I knew one truth with perfect clarity. If I didn't fight back, they would own me forever. I pressed my palms to the floor, solid wood beneath me, while everything inside felt cracked. Did they ever see me as family? Or just a wallet with my name on it? And when I finally stood up to them, their masks shattered. The next evening they came back, unannounced. Mom paced my living room, touching my belongings like they were hers. Dad crossed his arms. Brooks circled like a shark. After everything we've done for you, Dad said, this is how you repay us? I walked to the bookshelf, pulled down old photo albums, placed them on the table. High school graduation, I said, pointing to a photo of me alone in cap and gown. You had a fishing trip, page after page. Scholarship ceremony, art show, promotion, all moments you skipped. This is what you've done for me, I said. You've shown me I'm only valuable when I'm useful to you. The room froze. Then Noelle arrived. Boxes in her arms, tape on her shoulder. Ready for the next load? She asked. The contrast was sharp. Family who demanded sacrifice. Friends who celebrated me. Mom's voice shook. Just co-sign the loan. You have no real responsibilities, Dad added. You keep this starter home. And we get something bigger. Brooks leaned forward. If you refuse, you're cutting yourself off. Is that what you want? To be alone? For a moment, fear gripped me. But then I looked around. My shelves. My artwork. My home. Alone didn't feel empty. It felt free. I pulled a folder from my desk. Bank statements. 9 years of sacrifice. No vacations. No new clothes. 65% of every paycheck saved. That's how I bought this house. Not by stealing. Brooks scoffed. You want a medal for being boring? I'm done betraying myself, I said. He shouted. We quit our jobs. The kids are enrolled. You can't abandon us. I met his glare. Your poor planning isn't my emergency. The silence cracked like thunder. I walked to the door, pulled out the spare key Mom had made without asking, placed it on the table. You don't get to define my success. You don't get to claim what I earned. I opened the door wide. Cool air rushed in. One last thing, I said. I'm not asking you to leave my life. Just my house. One by one, they left. Dad first. Brooks fuming. Mom lingering. Please, she whispered. I met her eyes. I love you. But the answer is still no. I closed the door. Not slammed. Steady. Final. And when the latch clicked, the house was truly mine. For a moment, I leaned against the wood, my palms pressed flat, feeling the cool surface steadying me. The silence inside was no longer frightening. It was freedom. It was space carved by my own hands. 9 years of sacrifice finally spoke back to me, and the voice was mine alone. But silence from them wasn't the end. It was only the beginning of something new. The weeks that followed were quiet. No calls, no emails, no texts. At first, the silence felt like punishment, but slowly, it became something else. Space, room to breathe. Through neighbors, I heard Brooks and his family moved into a small rental. 2 bedrooms for 5 people. Tight but manageable. A start they had to own themselves. Then a photo arrived from Marin. The kids painting their new living room, laughing with rollers in their hands. Her message, thank you. We needed this reset more than we knew. I stared at the screen. For once, her words weren't about guilt. They were about growth. 3 months later, my bungalow finally felt like home. The walls held my milestones. My diploma. My first design award. Photos from hikes I took alone. All pieces of me, untouched by obligation. Noel raised a glass one evening. To Ellis, who proved saying no can be the beginning of something beautiful. I didn't blush. I didn't shrink. I lifted my glass and believed it. Then, one Tuesday at 6:30 sharp, my doorbell rang. It was my mother. Just her. A small box of cinnamon cookies in her hands. She waited on the porch until I invited her in. No commands. No assumptions. Only hesitation in her eyes. We sat with coffee. The silence between us heavy but different. She looked around slowly. "This is a lovely home, Ellis," she said. It was the first genuine compliment I'd heard in years. Not perfect. Not forgiveness. But a beginning. And I realized, boundaries don't always destroy relationships. Sometimes they rebuild them on honest ground. This house was never just about walls or a roof. It was a line in the sand. A promise to myself. Help is not the same as sacrifice. Love is not the same as ownership. Family is not the same as control. This time, I chose me. And by choosing me, I finally opened the door to a future that felt like mine. Have you ever had to choose yourself over family? Tell me in the comments. And if this story touched you, subscribe for more.